Two beautiful couples were having a wonderful time at the top of a hiking mountain. Soon they decided to climb even higher to reach their goal. Along the way, they kissed each other and continued their journey together. As they climbed, the wife struggled to move higher and kept slipping down. After several failed attempts, she became exhausted. At that moment, her husband noticed a powerful storm approaching. Quickly, they rushed into their camping tent for safety. After waiting for some minutes, they decided it was too dangerous to stay because of the violent windstorm, so they began climbing back down the mountain. While descending, the husband told his wife to move down faster so he could follow behind her. Suddenly, melting ice and rocks started crashing down from above. The wife quickly took cover and shouted for her husband to hurry, but it was already too late. A massive rock struck her husband, causing him to lose balance and fall unconscious. Desperately, the wife tried everything she could to pull him back up, but the rope suddenly snapped loose. Her husband fell deep beneath the mountain cliffs. Shocked and heartbroken, she stood frozen in fear and sorrow. Several weeks later, she decided to travel to another city to escape the painful memories. During her journey, she got lost and chose to stop at a safe place to camp for the night. The next morning, she continued driving until she arrived at a local police station where her cousin worked. Inside the station, she noticed many photos of missing people hanging on the walls. Her cousin warned her to stay careful because the town was not safe. Later, she drove to a nearby store to buy supplies. Suddenly, a hunter who seemed obsessed with her kept trying to get her attention, but she ignored him and calmly walked away. She asked a passerby for directions to a good camping location, and the man kindly showed her a perfect place nearby. After thanking him, she drove directly to the area. While arranging her camping equipment, a van suddenly arrived near her location. It belonged to the hunters. Feeling uncomfortable because of the noise, she quietly moved into her van. Moments later, the same man from the store approached her again, but she ignored him until he eventually walked away. Looking through her side mirror, she watched the hunters brutally butcher a dead antelope. The next morning, she decided to relax and have some fun outdoors. She played around happily, her face filled with smiles for the first time in weeks. After wandering for a while, she discovered a strange abandoned area filled with missing people's photographs and personal belongings. Curious and worried, she began investigating the surroundings. That night, she decided to sleep near the mysterious location. Early the next morning, she woke up to discover all her belongings, including her phone, were gone. As she searched through her camping tent, she suddenly spotted a deadly snake inside. Frightened, she backed away and continued searching for her missing items. While searching, she unexpectedly met the same man who had shown her the camping area. Both of them exchanged greetings and were surprised to see each other again. The man invited her to eat with him, and she accepted. He calmly prepared food while offering her water to drink. After finishing the meal, he began speaking strangely, making the woman uncomfortable. Sensing danger, she quickly finished eating and prepared to leave. Suddenly, the strange man stopped her. He walked inside his cabin and returned carrying her missing belongings along with a deadly weapon. Smiling coldly, he told her he would give her time to escape before hunting her down slowly for fun. Terrified, the woman immediately ran for her life. Moments later, the hunter began chasing her through the wilderness. Filled with fear and panic, she accidentally fell into a fast-flowing river. Somehow, she managed to swim out alive. After changing her wet clothes, she continued running desperately through the forest. Suddenly, she noticed her mobile phone resting on top of a rock, playing old memory videos. Before she could react, an arrow flew toward her. She barely dodged it and finally spotted the psycho killer watching her from a distance. He fired several more arrows as she ran through the forest in terror and confusion. While escaping, she slipped from a muddy slope and fell into another rushing river. Luckily, she survived once again, but she found herself lost in an unfamiliar area. Continuing her escape, she eventually reached a dead end. Climbing higher for a better view, she spotted a small boat nearby. But when she looked again, she saw the psycho killer running toward her with a terrifying smile on his face. She quickly hid beneath a large rock while the killer searched for her. Unable to find her, he relaxed and started swimming peacefully in the water below. Using the opportunity, the woman quietly swam toward the boat and tried cutting it loose. Unfortunately, her leg became trapped in a hidden snare. Suddenly, the psycho killer rushed toward her and attacked. In self-defense, she sprayed pepper spray into his eyes. She tried to free the boat while he screamed in pain, but he quickly recovered. She grabbed for his bow, but he dragged her backward. Holding the weapon, he ordered her to drop the pepper spray. With no choice, she obeyed. Surprisingly, the killer calmly freed her leg from the trap and told her to stand up slowly. That night, she woke up tied to a tree. As she struggled, the psycho killer approached and fed her strange fruits. Furious and terrified, she warned him that she would kill him if he touched her again. The killer stared at her silently before tightening the ropes painfully around her body. The next morning, the psycho killer tied her to the front of a boat and dragged her through the water as he sped across the lake. Exhausted and nearly drowning, she fought to survive until they finally reached a hidden underground cave. Inside the cave, she discovered horrifying evidence of countless murders. The smell of death filled the air, and she saw fresh victims, including adults and children. The killer proudly admitted he enjoyed murdering people for fun. Terrified, she realized she might become his next victim. The psycho killer tied her upside down and sharpened his knife while preparing to butcher her like the others. Before attacking, he moved closer as if to hug her goodbye. Suddenly, she bit his ear hard. Shocked and screaming in pain, he accidentally loosened the ropes. She immediately escaped, dragging him into the rushing underground water with her. Both of them were swept away by the violent current. They struggled desperately to survive as the water repeatedly smashed them against rocks. Finally, the woman managed to free herself from the chains. Grabbing a massive rock, she struck the weakened killer with all her strength. As she tried removing the remaining chains, the psycho killer suddenly woke up again. Realizing he was still alive, she rushed toward him and attempted to drown him, but he overpowered her and threw her aside violently. The battle continued as both of them became badly injured. The killer's leg was broken, while the woman bled heavily from her nose. Exhausted and helpless, they remained trapped near the water until morning. Knowing they would both die if they stayed there, the woman convinced the psycho killer to work together so they could climb out of the mountain forest. Reluctantly, he agreed, although he refused to untie the rope connecting them. As they climbed higher, the woman secretly planned her escape. Several times she tried loosening the rope, but the killer noticed and dragged her back down as a warning. Refusing to give up, she finally climbed higher and tied the rope to a tree branch. When the psycho killer realized her plan, he tried pulling her down with him, but this time she held tightly onto the cliff while the rope snapped loose. Suddenly, the psycho killer lost his grip and fell deep into the rocky mountain below, breaking every bone in his body and dying instantly. Relieved and overwhelmed with emotion, the woman continued climbing until she finally reached the top of the mountain. Tears of joy filled her eyes as she realized she was finally free. While walking back towards civilization, a passing couple stopped and offered her a ride. She asked them to take her back to her van. Afterwards, she drove straight to the local police station and reported everything that had happened. She guided the authorities to the psycho killer's hidden cave, where they recovered the remains of the missing victims. At last, the woman regained her freedom. Leaving the nightmare behind her, she drove peacefully to the beach to finally rest and begin a new life. Please like, share, and subscribe for more interesting videos.